Folks, welcome in the sportsbookreview.com. It is a football Friday here on the channels designed to keep you updated on what's going on in the offseason with the NFL. Before you know it, Kyle, I'm looking right now, May the 7th. It'll be June the 7th, and then it'll be July the 7th. And all of a sudden, we're in training camps and getting ready for another NFL football season. Good for you guys to join us here on a Friday. I know a lot of stuff's going on, the NBA, Major League Baseball, but it's always nice to take out some time and talk NFL action, Kyle.
Exactly. I mean, the NFL is our true love, right? It's our true passion. That's what it's all about, is the NFL. Yeah, it's my endless love. I'm going to watch Happy Gilmore later. I mean, look at Donnie sporting the Eagles. So I love talking football. Obviously, I thought last week's draft was a lot of fun. It felt more normal, and we got the hugs with Goodell. So I'm pretty excited about today. I'm pretty excited to talk football, excited to talk about what these teams have done, and of course, the biggest story, which we're going to get into right now, Aaron Rodgers.
No, we certainly will. And thank you guys for joining up with the network at sportsbookreview.com. 85,700 subscribers. Thank you so much. And I keep driving home this point here. We're going to get to 100,000 by football season. That's always the goal. If you can't grab the stars, Kyle, at least you can fall somewhere and hit the moon. So that's always the goal here. See if we can get those subscribers all the way up. But let's get into it right away here for us. Will he or won't he? It seems like it's been contrived. It seems like it's been all off season and condensed into one day, which was the draft. When we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, I'm unhappy playing in Green Bay. I won't play in Green Bay again. I want out. So before we start talking about, betting the Packers in 2021 and how this pertains, it's just kind of odd to me, and it seems a lot of scripted stuff. Usually in the NFL, when something happens, Kyle, it happens quickly. Aaron Rodgers makes a phone call, his agent makes a phone call, and within 48 hours, you have resolution. He's in or he's out. He's staying or is he going? So now we find out Adam Schefter puts that cryptic tweet out on draft day. He's not going to play for the Packers again. Oh, my goodness, they're going to trade him on draft night. What a surprise staged event here on a Thursday, which was last week. Didn't happen that way. So now I'm led to believe, listening to Adam Schefter, that he's had this story all along. He's been unhappy all offseason. But let's wait and formulate this to drive ratings up for the draft, which actually worked and got us talking about it. He's not going anywhere, is he?
Maybe to retirement. This wouldn't shock me if you have a Carson Palmer Bengals situation here. Look, Aaron Rodgers is a very mercurial guy. He's a really intelligent guy. And he also is one of those guys who has other interests outside of football. And you're right. He's been pissed off. This has been stewing since they drafted Jordan Love in the first round and didn't help him at all with that team whatsoever. And then they pile on top. They go out with their first round pick. I know they eventually got a wide receiver in the third round here, but I mean, they just refuse to give this guy a weapon outside of DeVonta Adams. And then they draft the defensive back in the first round. So they're just adding salt to the wound here. Look, Aaron Rodgers is a different kind of guy. He's the guy that even his own family is freaked out by him and doesn't like him a lot. He will do whatever the hell he wants. And if he's unhappy in Green Bay, it will not shock me if they refuse to trade him, which I was actually pretty surprised. Why not just do it during draft day? The hard part is teams aren't looking for a young quarterback. I've heard the Miamis and the Denver. The Packers aren't looking for a young quarterback. That's the whole reason that they're in this mess, is because they traded up and took a young quarterback last year, pissed Aaron Rodgers off, and I think this has been stewing and stewing and stewing and stewing. And when he saw them not go after a Kenny Golladay, not go after a big receiver in the free agent market, I think it just boiled over. And here we are. And I see Matt in the chat box saying a selfish move by Rodgers. I don't think so. Aaron Rodgers has been sitting there with no help. He's had the first half of his career, most of his career, ruined by a mindless, just moron head coach in Mike McCarthy. They refused to draft weapons for him to help in the first round. They're throwing out, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who couldn't catch a cold in the middle of, and if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I don't blame him, and I want out of Green Bay as well. I'm not sure if they're going to get value for him. I don't know what they trade him for right now, but it wouldn't shock me if he sits out this year. Honestly, it wouldn't.
It would shock me. It really. I know he's a different cat, and he doesn't even talk to his family. I understand all that, but it would shock me if he does sit out. And also leaving Green Bay, it doesn't make sense from a Packers perspective now to trade Aaron Rodgers. The goal, if it was on draft night to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, was to pick up the number 1 overall pick, number 2, number 3, number 4. If you trade Aaron Rodgers now, and let's just say he goes to let's just use the Giants
Sure.
for perspective here. The Giants are going to make the playoffs. So now you go from getting the 3rd overall pick to like the 30th overall pick because they would win the NFC East, head to the playoffs, and maybe make a deep run. It doesn't make any sense to move him now at this point. And from an Aaron Rodgers perspective, I call this the Carmelo Anthony effect, Kyle.
Yeah.
And what I mean by this is, if you remember back in the day, Carmelo Anthony is with the Denver Nuggets. I want to go to the Knicks. I have 3 months left in the NBA season, and then I'm a free agent. I can just go to the Knicks. But I wanted to go to the Knicks immediately at the deadline, so I gutted the Knicks organization, and then I went there just so I can make more money fitting in under the salary cap with the extension since I'm already on the Knicks. Well, if he doesn't do that, you don't lose draft picks and players, and your team is better. And they have to give up a little bit of money, which you're going to make in shoe deals and your next contract. Sure. But that's the hard-headedness of Carmelo Anthony. The same thing with Aaron Rodgers, because he's not a low-level guy. They're not cutting Aaron Rodgers where he can just go pick the best situation, because people equate this, Kyle, to Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay when it's nothing like that. Brady went to Tampa Bay, no trade, no gutting of the franchise. I'll give you a team-friendly deal. They go out and win the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is going to come to town, and the new team's going to be like, all right, well, we're out 4 first-round picks. We're out our last 3 top draft picks, which we gave them away. And good luck, Aaron. Go ahead and win this and see what you can do. Not the same thing. There's no way he is leaving Green Bay, which segues perfectly to our next point here, Kyle. Betting on the Packers in 2021, the day the season ended, before Aaron Rodgers was all disgruntled and he's not going to come back to the Green Bay Packers, they were 9-1 to win the Super Bowl in the season 2021. When I look at the odds now, they're 17-1 because books are trying to hedge. Well, we can't put it too low because if he does stay, then that's a steal. But if he does leave, 17-1 is too high. You got to get it lower. I understand where they're coming from. Yeah. But you are buying Green Bay at an unbelievable low right now because why? He's not going anywhere, Kyle.
Yeah, and I tend to agree with you. I don't think you'll see him playing for another team because I just don't know what they could even offer other than something crazy that wouldn't make any sense. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. All of a sudden, those draft picks are just less valuable because they're going to win games. And you did it after this draft, and they're not on the market for a young quarterback. They just drafted their young quarterback, and that's typically what you would see in one of these sort of, deals where you're trading away your franchise quarterback. So trying to figure out who and how and where he would even be traded to is just kind of mind scrambling, to be completely honest. So the only way I don't see him playing is if he does just sit out and says, you know what, screw it. I'll be the host of Jeopardy. I'll go on TV. I'll do this, that, the third. I'll be an analyst, which I could see him doing that. He's a strange guy. But you're right. That number. Now, listen, I'm not a Packers fan. I don't think the team can win the Super Bowl. I don't think they addressed the real needs of this team, where they need someone else besides DeVonta Adams to go with the football. I know they took the kid out of Clemson in the 3rd round. Sure could have used a nice slot guy like Elijah Moore, who was sitting there at 29 when they picked in the 1st round, was sitting there in the 2nd round. I mean, you look back to Randall Cobb and the success he had in the slot for Green Bay. Sure could have used a guy like that. Instead, they draft some defensive backs. The problem with the Packers is they're soft up front. They don't run the ball effectively, and they can't stop the run, and I don't think they did anything to address that. So for me, if the 49ers are healthy and they're running the ball the way that Kyle Shanahan does, I don't see them beating them. They should have probably beat Tampa Bay in that championship game. It was a bad no call on that pass interference interception for Sean Murphy-Bunting. But I just don't see I don't think this team is physical enough or good enough to win, even if Aaron Rodgers is at his peak. I mean, we saw it last year. He threw 48 touchdowns and 5 picks. They still lost to Tampa Bay in the postseason. So I'm not big on Green Bay, but you're right. The value is there because you've just doubled your value. And if Aaron Rodgers is playing in 2021, I agree with you. It will be in Green Bay. If he doesn't play, if he's not playing for Green Bay, I don't think he's playing for anyone else.
I mean, plus 850 to win the NFC. Obviously, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a favorite at 310. The Rams and the 49ers back-to-back at about 6-1. They're going to beat each other up. The Green Bay Packers, if Aaron Rodgers stays, which I believe he will, they're going to eviscerate the NFC North. The Bears are going to stink.
Absolutely.
The Vikings got Kirk Cousins. Detroit is
awful,
light years away from doing anything right now, which would set them up to a normal 14-2, which are obviously 14-3 this year. With 17 games, which gives you home field advantage. It's going to be hard to Green Bay. Maybe they falter again and they're soft, but as long as Aaron Rodgers is there healthy for the season, that is a stone-cold steal. And then we flip it down here, Kyle, to actually divisional numbers. Minus 125. You don't ever like to lay minus numbers to win a division. but they're so far better than the rest of that division with Aaron Rodgers. That's why we like to bring up these type of topics now, because people are sort of hedging their bets. Well, if he stays, if he goes, the Packers aren't going to do anything. We've seen the Packers over.
It is a good buy low spot. My hesitancy with it is I'm not sure the Packers are the best team in the NFC, even with a non-agitated, non-angry Aaron Rodgers.
They can be had. I think, again, they're probably going to end up with home field advantage, make the playoffs with home field advantage, at least for a round or two, and then we'll see how it goes from there. But you're right. I don't understand the methodology behind betting team totals or on a divisional winner or doing anything once you're going through until you actually see what the schedule is. They say, well, why would the schedule matter? Trust me, it does. There's going to be times where you play 3 straight divisional opponents. You're on the road 3 straight times. The biggest difference in the NFL to wait for, because it is probably a difference in a half of a game or a full game. If you are looking to bet, let's just say my Philadelphia Eagles, if they have the home Thursday night football game, that is a bonus. If you're looking to bet a win totals over. If they have the road Thursday game, that is a negative. So it gets me to my annual screaming, which on May 12th, when the schedule comes out next Thursday, Kyle, follow me on Twitter, because I will write this same tweet I've been doing for a decade now. The Cowboys just got the single best schedule in the NFL once again. And do you know why, Kyle? Do you know why? I have to explain this usually every year. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, of course you know why, because it's the money. The NFL desperately wants the Cowboys, first of all, to win games in primetime. They want them to be on primetime, and they want them relevant at the end of the year. It's the cash cow of the NFL.
No, but that's not why, though. Why do they have the easiest schedule every single year?
Oh, well, because they're playing, first of all, in the worst division ever in the history of football. They didn't win the division last year, so they're going to have a thing. I love this guessing game here, and I feel like I'm not. And when he does that, I'm probably going to kick myself. But those would all be factors there. So let's hear and well, actually,
real quick, I'll let you finish.
Their fans travel as well, so every game's a home game.
Here's the reason why. There's 2 teams in the NFL that actually one doesn't matter because the organization is just horrendous and is always horrendous. That's the Detroit Lions. So if you get where I'm going here, it's the Thanksgiving Day game. The Cowboys and the Detroit Lions are the only team in the NFL that play home on Thursday every single year. Now, what the NFL does to mask it to what we like to say Neanderthals out there that don't understand is they will then put the Cowboys on the road the following Thursday. Where they play on the road on Thursday, it's not a true game where you play on Sunday, get your head knocked off, and then have to fly down to play Dallas on Thursday. See what I'm saying here?
Exactly.
They play
You're 100%
at home on Thursday, then they get 7 days off and go play a normal 7-day work week NFL game, and then get the mini bye after that. Every single year, the Dallas Cowboys have a decided advantage over the entire NFL, and it makes my head explode, Kyle. Go ahead.
Yeah, and they usually play a can, too. It's a Washington, even though Washington stomped them last year, which it's one of my favorite things watching Dallas lose on Thanksgiving Day. It's just one of my favorite things. The Leon Lett play years ago against Miami in the snow on Thanksgiving was one of my favorite plays in the history of the NFL. I love watching them fall apart, but you're absolutely right, and it sucks. They're going to play a can. They're going to have that home game on a Thursday, and they already know it's a home game, and Detroit knows it's going to be a home game. And then, on the road a week later, but you're having a whole week off. It's not a short week for them. Right. So, they do the 3 games in 10 days or whatever leading up to that. But again, they get to be at home. They get all of this coverage. They usually put them with a soft opponent. Won't shock me if it's a Washington or the Giants or, a Carolina. Something like that this year. Trevor Lawrence on Thanksgiving Day, Jacksonville at Dallas. That wouldn't shock me either. But, that's just what they do. But you're 100% right. And it's actually a really good perspective that I hadn't thought about before. But you're 100% right.
Yeah, and that's what I look for. And I'm not a great team totals guy. I am what they call a day-to-day, week-to-week capper. I isolate weak situations. I know people love to bet. I'm going to take futures on the Super Bowl winner. I'm going to take 15 team total overs and unders and do all this. I'm not good at that because I need to see what's in front of you with the hard and fast numbers. The schedule impact, though, for me is I don't know how you bet it before you see the schedule. Because as I said, again, you might have one of those where you play 3 road games. Let's just say, I don't know, you're Seattle, 3 on the road. You're playing, at the Eagles, and then you're playing at the Vikings, and then at the Miami Dolphins, just say. if you don't know that coming into it, that is just a dreadful travel spot 3 road game thing, where maybe if it was opposite and they didn't have it, you might win 2 or 3 out of those, as opposed to winning 1 out of 3 of those, which is the difference in a team total, 1 full win. So when the schedule comes out next Thursday, fun to look at the pageantry. What's the opening game? What's the Thanksgiving games? Because they do add, obviously, that 3rd game at night, which I do like. But you have to try to quantify what makes sense here, Kyle, on who's playing who and when you're playing these teams. Also keep in mind, as you're betting the team totals, which are live throughout the season as well, take a look at teams that finish, 3 straight home games to end the season. They might get lumped up during the year, and we say, wait a second, now's a great buy-in point to try to get this team to win the division, because let's just say if it's the Giants and they have the Eagles, Cowboys, and Washington football team all at home, and they're within a game of them, they might have a launching pad there at that point, Kyle.
Yeah, exactly. And I love looking at those things. I love looking at we've talked a lot about Thursday Night Football, seeing, are they playing at home? Are they on the road? Who is their matchup before? Is this going to be are you playing Baltimore on Sunday and then you got to go play a Thursday night game? Are you playing, the Rams or Washington, teams with these physical defenses that are probably going to beat up on your team, your quarterback a little bit? And then at the end of the year, those divisional games that they're going to have scheduled for weeks, 16, 17, for the 16th and 17th game now that we're going to have. Who's going to be the home team? Are the Cowboys going to host the Eagles? Are the Eagles going to host the Cowboys? Those sort of things play into it. Looking for little trends there are important. Hey, did they play in Miami on Sunday?
Correct.
And now they're going back to LA the following Sunday. Those are little things that you look at, try to calculate those wins for each team. I'm with you. I don't do a whole bunch of I do some future Super Bowl stuff, some plus money. Like, I'll probably sprinkle money on the Titans this year at 33-1, stuff like that. Even though, do I think they'll win the Super Bowl? Probably not. But they're 33-1 and they have a ton of talent, so I do it. But that's about where I'm at there. But I think it's a good point too to kind of keep an eye during the season and see if you can get, one of those schedule advantages. And shit, we're gonna know in 5 days.
Yeah, it's nice because it's it doesn't mean that much, but it's still nice to say, hey,
damn about hockey. But it is true, and it's kind of interesting. Yeah, you're securing your spot. So hey, we just want to keep you healthy, young kid. Don't show up to mini camps. This is part of what is the problem with this country. People want to get paid for doing nothing. You want to get a trophy for finishing in last place. You don't want to have to work as hard as you used to have to work. That's why we are a silly nation, and that's why we're worried about other countries passing us, because we're silly and we're stupid and we're lazy. This is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that you would tell a young rookie not to go to work, not get better, not learn the NFL game, and not know your coaches reeks of insecurity. It reeks of stupidity. It's selfish. It's the wrong way to go. I hope those rookies tell them, listen, we worked our whole life to get here. We sacrificed, high school parties, maybe not, a social life in college so that we could focus on our craft. And now you're telling us, don't go in and perfect our craft before we hit the professional stage. No, that's absolutely ridiculous. It's for lack of a better term, the pussification of America. I absolutely can't stand it. It makes me sick. Get to work, rookies, and don't listen to those stupid veterans.
It's funny, too, because it's a lot different than me, a 9-to-5 person going to work. This is the NFL, and these are your best friends off the field. Let's just say Monday through Friday, they ask you to come in for OTAs, usually like a Thursday to a Sunday, then you have the rest of the week off. Right. But even working out in the facility, most guys live near the facility or within 30 minutes, because that's where you work. You don't move 3 hours away and drive 3 hours into, let's just say, the Eagles facility and then back 3 hours out. I don't understand the fact is why you wouldn't want to go to the facility, get a good workout in with your trainers, top flight staff, all your meals paid for. Maybe you see the coaches and say hello, hang out with your guys, and you're out of there by 3:30 in the afternoon. I understand there's times you're like, hey, I'm going to go to Miami for 2 weeks and work out. And a lot of NFL teams are okay. Hey, great, work out with your trainer. We'll see you in 2 weeks when you come back. But it's the player saying, as soon as the season's over, January 2nd, you ain't seeing me till August. Good luck. And the NFL teams go, okay, we got you here. So when I have no idea what you're doing, you're riding motorcycles and jet skis, and then you get hurt on your jet ski and try to act like you got hurt working out, we're not paying you at all.
Right. And what's the big issue we always talk about with the NFL Players Association, how it's weaker than every other players union in any other sport? They don't have guaranteed contracts. It's going to be really hard in your next negotiation to be like, yeah, we want fully guaranteed contracts. And oh yeah, by the way, we're going to do whatever the hell we want during the offseason, and we're not going to go to OTAs. how could a responsible owner agree to that deal? So you're not only are you hurting the future of guaranteed contracts for your sport, which is something that we make fun of really all the time, how weak that union is. You're not making your union any stronger by telling your players to not go to work. That seems like a lot of bad faith to me, and it does. It seems like they're trying to protect their own ass, keep their own spot, and hold these rookies down a little bit because they're cheaper. I don't like it. I don't like that kind of mindset. It just bothers me personally. I mean, I get it. I guess I suppose on a professional level, maybe they stay a little bit healthier, maybe have a couple less knee injuries. But for my money, we saw last year. I thought injuries were worse last year when they didn't go to mini camps and didn't have that proper sort of preseason training camp preparation. Their bodies weren't ready to get hit.
And how do you do it anyway? Like, how do you do this? Let's just say, again, unless you're an all-pro wide, let's just say a healthy Julio Jones. He doesn't have to worry about showing up to Atlanta. Like, it's his job. But always been under the adage. It's like saying here, if we work at sportsbookreview.com and you're like, you know what? I don't have to do these off-season NFL shows, and we get another co-host, and he's awesome. And then by football season, they go, hey, Kyle, this other guy's really good. Thanks for coming. Like, Don't you have that human edge? Like, I'm not letting somebody get ahead of me on the roster. I'm showing up every day. I'm working hard. Even if it's a rookie, I'm showing the coach, like, dude, we can't put this rookie in. Donnie is balling out here on the field, as opposed to, boy, this rookie's really good. Where's Donnie at? Like, we can use this rookie instead. Why would you do that to yourself?
It just doesn't make any sense, especially when you're a young kid trying to make your mark, right? Like, and I wouldn't want to draft a kid who would agree with it anyways. When I'm doing my homework and I'm doing my scouting, I want someone whose goal is they want to work as hard as possible. They have that edge. They're competitive. They want to be the best at what they do. That would just be a horrible feeling knowing someone is just out there replacing you.
Yes.
And I couldn't imagine. I completely agree. It's a weird mindset, but that's what's happened to America. I swear to you, everywhere across the board, we've gotten softer and softer and sillier and sillier. And I think it's going to come back to bite. I really do. It's one of the things that really frustrates me. I have a teenage son. I'm a single father of him, and I'm telling him all the time, no, you don't get little bonus points because you tried or because you tell me you tried. Just do it. Work hard. Try hard. That's the message we need to be sending to our young people, not, hey, stay at home and get paid. Ridiculous.
No, you're right. All right, let's keep going here. But it's always an interesting conversation because it is organized training activities in the off season, and we do off season shows. So when some of these things pop up, I'm always the contrarian to get inside. Like, now, why are they? It's not because they don't want to get COVID. They're not showing up to the facility. They just don't want to work, and they want to protect themselves against rookies coming in, taking their jobs. Pretty easy to see through, and we'll see how it plays out here. But let's go. You know, we had the draft last show. Will Brinson joined us last week. A lot of fun on those shows. Quick draft recap here, some winners and losers. I mean, it's hard to tell, obviously, winners and losers in the draft. I did like what New England did because they got their quarterback, didn't spend any capital, but I also have to commend the New York Giants in the same division as my Philadelphia Eagles for trading back, getting another first rounder, picking up some talent here. That's a team, if they can get a quarterback, might be dangerous here in the future. There are a couple winners for me, Kyle. Who do you look at some winners maybe in the draft, and maybe even a loser if you have one?
Yeah, well, I loved what the LA Chargers did. I think they nailed their needs right on the head. They got that offensive tackle that they needed. They've had some offseason signings. That offensive line might be a top 15, top 10 offensive line in football. You figure Justin Herbert was pressured 217 times last year, third most in the NFL. So I thought the Chargers getting Asante Samuel Jr., an absolute ball hawk for that secondary. Derwin James will be back. They were buddies at Florida State. I think the Chargers absolutely killed it. I agree with you. I like what the Jets did. I thought they really, really addressed some of their needs as well. A couple losers. I think Green Bay lost. I think you just added salt into that wound by taking that defensive back in the first round, and obviously Aaron Rodgers wanted out. I didn't see anything out of them during draft day that was saying, you know, down on bended knee, boys to men, I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers, come back. So I think the Packers were losers, and I think the Raiders. I wasn't a big fan of every pick my 49ers made either. I am glad they took Lance over Mac Jones, but I thought there were some reaches there. The Raiders obviously reached in the first round, but they did address some needs with that safety in the second round. But I'm going to say winner for me, I really like the Chargers. When I look across every draft, I thought the Chargers really, really nailed it on the head with everything they needed. Losers for me, Packers. Just failing to put people around Aaron Rodgers.
No, and I could sort of agree with you on that. Let's get to one of the last topics here that we have on the card today. Rookie of the Year. Obviously, in the NFL, there's an offensive rookie of the year and a defensive rookie of the year. Usually the high flyers, meaning the guys that are drafted high, particularly on defense, the edge rushers, or maybe a linebacker always get the nod. Micah Parsons sitting here at FanDuel plus 550, JOK plus 750, Kwity Paye 850, Jalen Phillips 950. There's a reason why the cornerbacks aren't up high, because you don't see cornerbacks a lot. They don't flash usually as rookies, 11 picks. 3 of them run back for touchdowns. It's usually that edge rusher, that rookie that gets 7, 8, 9, 10 sacks. He gets the edge there. And also taking a look at NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Trevor Lawrence is going to play 17 games right off the bat. He's going to put up really good statistics just because he'll compile those by being on theoretically a bad football team. You look at Justin Fields plus 500. Is he even going to play? Why would you bet that? Zach Wilson, 700. He's going to have to sink or swim. Trey Lance, 9-1. Is he even going to play this year?
No.
That's the stuff that you have to take a look at here.
He might, because Jimmy Garoppolo will probably get hurt in the first 5 quarters is on the field. So that's why Trey Lance would play there. But I agree with that. I think Trevor Lawrence should be the front runner here. Kyle Pitts is a little bit interesting. Again, those positions are tough. I know these guys are supremely talented, and you mentioned cornerback. Cornerback is a hard transition from college to pro. They just aren't used to competing with guys. You know, when they get a big matchup in college, it's like, oh my God, we're up against, Jalen Waddle. You're going to be facing 17 Jalen Waddles in the NFL. So it's a lot tougher to transition, just to be physically strong enough and mentally prepared for the NFL game. A guy like Jalen Phillips that the Dolphins drafted does make a lot of sense if he's able to get after the quarter. I wasn't a big Kwity Paye fan. We'll see what happens there, but I think Phillips stands out. Another one, like a big sleeper, a guy like Najee Harris for the Steelers. Okay, he's going to take over that running game. Great. I know that offensive line is bad, and people are, even Mel Kiper in particular, dogging them for taking him. I thought it was a great draft pick. I mean, he looks like a little mini Derrick Henry, and if he's able to stabilize that running game in Pittsburgh, which they desperately need after 2 years of the slug James Conner, running his 6'4" 40s out there running around, Najee Harris is going to be involved. He's going to have the opportunity to catch passes. He's going to be their goal line back as well. So Najee Harris could be a nice little plus money long shot for Rookie of the Year.
It is, because you're looking at stat compilers here, because you saw last year, with Justin Jefferson had an outrageous year, one of the best rookies, if not the best rookie wide receiver of all time. You see Jamar Chase at 15-1. We don't know if he's going to get the same amount of opportunities like we saw last year with Justin Jefferson, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Najee Harris makes so much sense at 15-1 outside of Trevor Lawrence, because Trevor Lawrence isn't getting benched next year. So if he plays 17 games, Kyle, and they go, they're not going to go 2-15. At least I don't think they will. But he's going to throw for 275, 250 every game, which is markedly better than Fields, Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, or whoever else. The only other guy I could see maybe is Kyle Pitts. But there's so many weapons down there in Atlanta where he might get overshadowed. But I do like to call him Najee Harris. Plug-and-play guy, 1,000 yards on the ground, 10 touchdowns, catching 50, 60 passes. I can certainly see that. So I think that's, a pretty good look by you. But that is the NFL show for Friday. Week to week, keeping you guys updated right here, giving you that content as we get ready for another NFL season. Yes, I know it's May, but sooner or later, you are going to see us pop on. Welcome into Week 1 NFL here at SportsBookReview.com. You know that's coming. So thank you guys for joining us here on a Friday to talk a little bit of football. And time goes fast. It certainly does. Yeah, it does. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance. We are SportsBookReview.com. And this was your NFL show for Friday right here at SportsBookReview.com.